My new book, Facts That Aren't True, is out now. Don't forget about my other book, Rational Answers to Stupid Questions.
I don't understand this concept or I disagree with this concept, but to say it's dumb is bizarre to me because it seems logical to me that A to B with logic in the middle is what's happening. There's an effect. I assume there's a cause because that's the reality I live in.
Yes, two things. One, this specifically means young Earth creationism, but I'm pressed for space,
Okay.
so I just say creationism. And it saying everything has a cause, and that makes logical sense. It does, but at the end of the day, you just have to do special pleading and say, well, that's why I believe that something that doesn't have a cause caused all the other things. We can just say the universe is causeless, and there we go. We at least know that a universe exists.
That would be irrational from my perspective. And God, to me, my perspective is, I sort of lean toward the information theory that the substrate of reality is information, and that God is the global operator descriptor or generative principle, and is the source. We could say it that way. So to me, it's just bizarre to say, and I understand now that you're combating a particular sectarian belief, right? You're saying, look, I don't believe that these people that think the Earth is 5,000 years old are correct. Okay, that makes more sense, but to just creationism is dumb seems bizarre to me. And then, of course, that would lead into no evidence for God. That depends on how you define God. I would say that evidence, which is the effect, or we could say it this way: if there's a creation, then logically there would be one who created it, right? That's just logical. The creator would precede the creation, and so the creation itself would be the evidence for the creator. It's philosophically it's sound and valid argument.
Well, not really, because you're begging the question. You're saying that it is created, therefore it has a creator.
Well, the evidence would the fact that it exists, right? And we don't see anything that exists in our day-to-day lives, right? You would never look at it. You would never come across anything and say there's no source for that, right? When you see a car, you see a rock, you assume that there was some process that created it, correct?
Yeah, but the universe as a whole, yeah. I don't see any evidence, because we've actually never seen anything be created. We see things
you don't find that as an odd leap of faith to say everything that I experience in the mundane tends to work in this process. There's something that causes it. But in general, all things came through a no process whatsoever. You don't find that to be a bizarre reversal of what you see in your day-to-day life?
No, I have no problem. How do I say this? Things happen in the universe, but the idea that there's something other than the universe, that's a massive leap to me. Why a universe can't just exist? I don't understand why that's a problem.
You've got Big Bang is true, right? Yeah. That was a process with the beginning.
Well, when you say in the beginning, correct? Yes. If we go backwards in time from the beginning, that doesn't mean, first of all, maybe there is no such thing as that. But second of all, that wouldn't mean that before that there was nothing.
It wouldn't preclude it either. But the Big Bang itself is a process that began, and it's theorized that time itself began at the Big Bang, right?
Time as we understand it, yeah. But the universe could have existed in a timeless state before that.
Well, it's possible, right? Anything's possible. But to say that it's illogical or dumb to disregard everything that you experience in objective reality today, which is linear, entropy exists, right? We see uniformity in nature. We see all of these systems that tell us, hey, A leads to B logically. But when we look at the macro, we say, but that doesn't apply on the macro. It only applies in the micro. That's a bizarre reversal of what we see in day-to-day life from my perspective. And I could be strange, the type of person that just likes logic. But to reverse that on the macro seems arbitrary to me.
It
certainly doesn't seem dumb.
Again, well, okay, I never said that those ideas are dumb, but Again, in order to invoke a supernatural creator, you have to be illogical, because you have
Why?
to because it's special pleading no matter what.
What
And
are you
this,
pleading? What are you using as your axiomatic foundation for something from nothing?
I don't think that nothing can ever produce something.
Okay, then that thing that precedes the creation, that thing would be by definition the cause, right? Which it would be by definition God, right?
If the thing that causes the universe is by definition God, then an alien race that's simulating the universe all of a sudden
Would be
is
God.
God.
Right.
Well,
We could use we could, yeah,
well,
we could
no,
describe it in any sense we wanted. Yeah.
well,
The generative principle is what I mean by
yes,
God.
but no, because God is supernatural, and these aliens
There's
wouldn't
nothing
be.
that exists that's supernatural, right? That's an oxymoron. If it exists in nature, it is by definition natural.
Yeah, I know. I'm
Yes,
talking
and
about.
hence, if it exists at all, it is existing in the manifold of creation, in the syntactic manifold. It's existing within that, so it would be natural. Nothing
In
violates the
a
laws of nature.
Nothing violates the laws of nature. I mean, you can say that, but doesn't God have to violate the laws of nature to create the universe?
I don't think so at all. I think that God defines from my perspective. I see again. I see. I adhere to the notion that the universe is information, and there's a bunch of science on this now. Donald Hoffman, his team of scientists are laying out this stuff. Jack Savardi, the quantum physicist, he's laying this out. We see all of this now in quantum physics. The substrate of reality is information, right? And what we see are syntactic operators, attractors, all of these things that we can describe in the terms of language and information processing, right? And the source of that we call the global operator descriptor, or God, right? It's an acronym for God. Um, but it seems to be what the science is pointing to, right? Particularly on it helps us to understand quantum physics, right? Where what we would consider conventional physics break down, right? It answers some of those questions. Non-locality, spooky action at a distance, those types of things are addressed in that.
How are they
So
addressed?
again, I know that's kind of off in the weeds, and it's kind of kind of nerdy area of interest. And I might not look like the type of guy in that picture right there. I also like fitness, but I just wrote a book about this. It's a fictional account that explains some of the theories underpinning this. But when I come on TikTok, a lot of times I think I just saw you debate Andrew Wilson, and
Yeah.
yeah, and then you popped up in there, and I find Andrew funny. I like his style, but I saw that debate with you, and then I saw you pop up in here, and I was like, well, that's kind of odd. You didn't seem like the condescending, smug type in that, and then creationism is dumb was counterintuitive to my initial opinion of you. So
Sorry
that's
to
why I came up
sorry
with
to
it.
disappoint you. I guess I'll just
No,
have
I'm
to.
not
I
disappointed.
guess
I'm
I'll
not
have to call you
disappointed.
Dad now.
I mean, again, I don't feel any need to insult you just because you don't understand what I'm saying. That doesn't
I'm
bother me.
not
And
insulting you. That was actually an insult on me. Actually,
well, it seemed condescending. If I misinterpreted it, then my apologies.
no. What I was
But
saying is I
anyway,
disappointed you, so I'll call you Dad, because the implication is
oh, I
all I
got you.
ever
I got
did
you.
was disappoint my dad.
Disappoint your dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's it's like I said. I just like that. Yeah, for me, I like logic and reason. I like conversations, and a lot of the atheist types that I see on TikTok are smug and condescending for no real reason. I mean, they're nowhere near as well read or bright as they think they are, and they disregard massive swaths of science that just annihilate their axiomatic presuppositions. Right? They just
Okay.
assume
Can we build on that? What branches of science annihilate an atheistic
quantum physics for
worldview?
one. Quantum
How?
physics, neuroscience. Well, I'll get to it. Neuroscience for one, and now we have an entire brand new branch of science, game theory. These types of theories are challenging what we consider
Game
to be,
theory?
yeah, game theory. Are you familiar with Donald Hoffman at all?
It doesn't
And I'll
ring a
give you this
bell.
just for next time you debate like an Andrew Wilson or something. Go and read Donald Hoffman's book. I can't remember the title of it right now, but it's his newest book. He's been on a lot of the podcasts recently talking about it. But he and a whole team of polymaths have been studying this problem of consciousness for about 25 years, and it's really interesting work that 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 they've done, and I just think it's an eye opener, or it should be for people that take seriously, trying to understand what is objective reality and what is the nature of our existence.
I don't know why you brought up game theory is it's sort of an economics thing. That's what John Nash won a Nobel Prize for, and then they made that really great movie, A Beautiful Mind.
It's applicable across disciplines, though, right? Some of the fundamental.
I suppose it could be in ways.
Right.
Can we talk about quantum mechanics, though?
Quantum mechanics. Okay, well, let's take spooky action at a distance, or non-locality, or the principle that a particle can be in superposition until it's observed, right? So this gives credence to the notion that observation has impact on quantum particles.
No.
Absolutely it does.
Absolutely
it does. Okay.
No.
Explain to me superposition.
Well, no, because that doesn't have to do with the claim here. A wave function collapses when a particle, like it can be a photon or an electron, whatever. The wave function collapses when it interacts with something else, not when it's observed.
Observation.
If you set up an experimental apparatus and you never look at the data, the wave function will be collapsed because those photons will have hit the detector anyways.
No, that's not what we're seeing at CERN. We're seeing that
CERN
observation.
CERN doesn't do that.
CERN studies superposition. Dude, do you know?
Okay,
what
well
goes on
they may do things other than just colliding the particles. I guess
do a lot of things other than that. But my point is, and this is, I'm not saying it's uncontested, but there are teams of scientists who are studying this superposition problem and spooky action at a distance, right? The whole faster than light information transfer that happens in that, right?
Oh, where's Blitz?
So we can look at this, and again, I'm not a quantum physicist, but the science to it, I like to write. I write fiction, and so these are things that I study, to put in the stories that I write. They work as clever plot devices. Interesting, but it certainly, as a person who likes philosophy, it certainly broadens your horizon philosophically. I mean, whether you're a materialist or a metaphysical, you have some sort of metaphysical underpinning for your worldview. You're going to have circular reasoning, right? Ultimately, you're gonna fall back on circular reasoning. You wouldn't disagree with that, would you?
No, I think at some point you end up at circular reasoning. Yeah.
Right. So, and I'm just saying that to say, my mind is open. So, I'm not going to depend solely on and say I'll never move from the position of solipsism, that I can't know anything beyond my own mind.
I'm open-minded too. People call me John F. Kennedy.
Yeah, that's good, man. That's good. And like I said, I just wanted to address the creationism is dumb thing. I think to shut your mind down and say, you know what, I know everything, is the ultimate closed-mindedness, right?
Potentially, but I don't do that.
Okay, well, that's good. And listen, man, I would love to see you debate Andrew again, man. I really would.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't really want to rehash the same exact thing, but
I wouldn't blame you. But not many want to debate him twice, particularly atheists, materialists. But I enjoyed it. I like seeing it.
Okay.
Yeah. Did you see the Dillahunty debate that he did?
Well, it wasn't a debate, but I've seen I've seen parts of it.
Yeah, you did. At least you didn't rage quit. But that was funny to me. But anyway, man, I will say this: Andrew lied to you.
About what?
Yeah. When he was talking about, I think it was you, where he said, "Look, there are other guys that are starting to use his arguments. Those aren't his arguments." Greg Bonson articulated his arguments 30 years ago. So